There is a moment so small that most people miss it. You are waiting for the kettle, or standing in an elevator, or sitting at your desk while a page loads. Nothing dramatic happens. No alarm, no crisis, no message you consciously remember needing to answer. But suddenly, the phone is in your hand. The screen lights up, your thumb moves, an app opens. Maybe the same app you closed 12 seconds ago. And then, a strange little question appears inside your own mind. Why did I open this? A 2019 phone use survey estimated that Americans checked their phones about 96 times a day. That is roughly once every 10 minutes during waking hours. But the number is not the strangest part. The strangest part is how many of those checks do not feel like decisions. They feel like glitches. Your body reaches before your mind explains. Your thumb knows the path before the sentence forms. Pocket, screen, unlock, app, scroll. You did not decide. Your hand just went. And by the time you notice, the hunt has already started. This is not a story about weakness. It is a story about an old brain that was built to scan the world for signals, and a modern object that learned how to become the most signal-rich thing in the room. So the question is not only, why do you open your phone so often? The deeper question is, why does the hand move before you do? To understand the phone reach, you have to remove the phone. Remove the desk. Remove the elevator. Remove the charger beside the bed. Remove the little red badges that sit on app icons like urgent berries. Now, shrink the world. There is no internet, no feed, no group chat, no lock screen. There is only a small human group, a changing landscape, and a nervous system trying to notice what matters before it is too late. In that world, attention is not decoration. Attention is survival. You scan the edge of the trees. You listen for footsteps. You watch faces around the fire. You notice who is tense, who is calm, who is whispering. Not because you are paranoid, because information is protection. A small sound might mean food. It might mean danger. It might mean someone has found something. A change in another person's face might mean anger, trust, attraction, exclusion, or warning. The brain does not wait for a formal announcement. It samples. It checks. It updates. The scanning system becomes automatic because automatic is faster than thoughtful. So the brain learned shortcuts. Look there. Check that. Watch them. Listen again. Something might matter. That ancient movement is still inside the modern body. Only now, the edge of the trees is a lock screen. The distant sound is a vibration. The group around the fire is a group chat. And the signal-rich object is sitting in your pocket, waiting for the old brain to remember what it was built to do. The first part of the code is reward. Not guaranteed reward. Uncertain reward. That difference matters. If your phone gave you the same thing every time, the spell would be weaker. One check, one identical result. One tap, one predictable answer. The brain would learn the pattern and stop caring so much. But that is not what the phone gives you. Sometimes there is nothing. Sometimes there is a message. Sometimes there is a like from the person you hoped would notice. Sometimes there is a funny video, a shocking headline, a tiny social clue, a new comment, a strange piece of news, or one perfect thing that makes the last 10 empty checks feel justified. This is the power of variable reward. B.F. Skinner showed that behavior can become especially persistent when rewards arrive unpredictably. Not every time, not never, just sometimes. Sometimes is a dangerous word for the brain, because sometimes keeps the search alive. The phone becomes a slot machine with your social world inside it. You do not have to believe that sentence consciously for the system to work. You only have to feel the small possibility that the next check might contain something. Maybe there is something new. And that maybe is enough to move the thumb. This is why opening your phone can feel both pointless and irresistible. Most checks are not meaningful, But the brain is not only responding to the average check, it is responding to the possible check, the one that has the answer, the one that changes the mood, the one that tells you someone thought of you. So the hand reaches, because a tiny part of the system is asking the oldest reward question in the world. What if this time? But reward is only half the code. The other half is social monitoring. Because your phone is not just a toy, and not just a screen, and not just a machine for entertainment, it is a tiny dashboard of your place among people. Who replied? Who did not? Who liked the post? Who watched the story? Who is online? Who is out without you? Who disappeared? The modern phone compresses hundreds of social signals into one small object. That is why the check can feel urgent even when nothing urgent is happening. The brain is not only asking, is there pleasure here? It is asking, where am I socially? For most of human history, belonging was not a luxury. Being included meant more protection, more information, more help, more chances to form bonds, more chances to be remembered when resources were shared. So the brain learned to care about social position in a survival way. The problem is that modern life gives that ancient system too many mirrors. Every app becomes a little room where you can check whether you exist to other people. The phone says, maybe someone answered, maybe someone noticed, maybe someone ignored you, maybe everyone is somewhere else, maybe your status changed while you were not looking. And that is a very hard maybe to leave alone. This is why the hand reaches during silence, not only during boredom, but during the tiny gaps where the self feels unconfirmed. The elevator, the bus stop, the moment after sending a message, the moment before sleep. When the outside world goes quiet, the social monitoring system starts asking for an update, and the phone is always willing to pretend it has one. Then comes the mismatch. On January 9th, 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone. That day did not create curiosity. It did not create loneliness. It did not create the desire to be noticed, or the fear of being left out, or the tiny emotional voltage of an unpredictable reward. Those loops were already old. What changed was the container. The old scanning system was given a glass rectangle, a touchscreen, a pocket-sized doorway, a device that could hold messages, faces, games, news, status, memory, boredom relief, and the glowing weather system of other people's attention. The phone did not invent the instinct. It gave the instinct a perfect home. Before smartphones, there were pauses that stayed pauses. You waited in a line, and waiting was just waiting. You sat in a room, and the room was allowed to be a room. Not every old pause was beautiful. Boredom was still boredom. Anxiety was still anxiety. But the pause had edges. The smartphone softened those edges until almost every empty second could become a check. That is the mismatch. The brain has an ancient habit of scanning for useful signals. The phone offers an infinite surface of possible signals, and the body learns the route. Pocket, screen, unlock, app, scroll. At first, this route feels like convenience. Then it becomes memory. Then it becomes reflex. You do not open the phone because one clear thought commanded you. You open it because the world created a tiny gap, and your nervous system has learned that gaps can be filled with signals. That is why the phone reach is not just a bad habit. It is a trained search pattern, a modern ritual built on an ancient question. What changed while I was gone? So when you open your phone without thinking, the strange answer is that part of you is thinking, just not in words. It is thinking in cues. Silence means check. Boredom means check. Waiting means check. Stress means check. A half second of emptiness means maybe there is something somewhere that will change the feeling. That does not make the behavior harmless. Automatic things can still take from you. They can take attention. They can take rest. They can take the small private spaces where thoughts are supposed to finish. But understanding the mechanism changes the emotional tone. You are not simply lazy. You are not broken. You are not uniquely weak because your hand keeps finding the same glowing object. You are carrying an old scanning system through a world that keeps offering it new bait. The question is, what happens after you see the loop? Because knowledge is not a magic switch. You can understand variable reward and still check. You can understand social monitoring and still want to know who replied. You can understand the mismatch and still feel the hand begin to move. That is the uncomfortable part. The explanation does not instantly free you. It only creates a small space between the cue and the reach. A fraction of a second where you can notice the hand is moving. Not because there is a real emergency, not because the phone called your name, but because some older part of the brain is scanning the dark for signals. At the end of the day, the phone is face down on the table. The room is quiet. Nothing has vibrated. Nothing has changed. And still, after a few seconds, the hand starts drifting toward it. Slowly, almost politely, like it has done this 1,000 times before. And now the question is not, why did I open this? The question is sharper. Does knowing why the hand moves stop it?